is the Wyoming Cowboys making the trip to Folsom Field in Boulder September 20th to take on Colorado in really what is a pivotal non-conference tip that's happening at 10:15 Eastern on ESPN. This is going to be like actual ESPN, on ESPN Plus, like actual ESPN, because ESPN absolutely loves Prime Sanders. But the reason that this is a elimination game for Colorado in particular, Wyoming, it's no surprise. You're a G5, you have very little room for error in terms of consideration, and you already have a loss to Utah. But you look at Colorado on the other side. They already lost to Georgia Tech, which is a really good team. They just got rings, and we'll talk about that poll later this week. But they've also lost to Houston. So you have a Big 12 conference loss, and you already have a non-conference loss as well. You really cannot afford to lose any more games, especially if it's a G5 team. You don't have that kind of really you don't have really much wiggle room if you're Prime Sanders and you're trying to lead Colorado to the playoffs for the very first time. And this Wyoming team, yes, it's a G5 squad. They got some offensive juice. We didn't see it much in the last game, but this is a team that can challenge Colorado defensively to a degree. I mean, Caden Anderson, has been solid, through the air, throwing for over 500 yards and a few touchdowns this year. While their lead running back, Sam Scott, he's already piled up over 200 running yards. He knows how to run the rock. And so the Cowboys, who are already looking to improve on what was a modest last season, where I believe they finished 3-9, they're really showing some signs of life under Jay Sovell, who's really building this program back up in his own image, even though he was a long-time assistant in this program. But then you look at Colorado, and it's not as positive a story, right? They've had look inconsistent under Prime Sanders. Really folding into big moments. Most recently, a loss to Houston, where Houston was able to pull away late. And I think they're still trying to figure out what they want to do with the quarterback position as well. We saw Caden Salter start early in the year, and then we saw Ryan Stubb start this past game, and neither has really looked impressive. I'm very curious with who Colorado rolls with at the quarterback position, and if they continue to go with Ryan Staub, how much leeway does he get before someone else enters the play? Maybe, seeing Caden Salter again, or like Julian Lewis, who's an incredibly talented freshman. True freshman, though. But it's not only the quarterback position that Colorado is having issues with. They're also dealing with questions around their offensive line and really that defensive inconsistency that I talked about earlier right now. So, all of this in mind, we're going to check out the model real quick. And all the problems in mind, Colorado still is a comfortable favorite, according to FanDuel and our internal metrics. So, Colorado right now is listed as a 13.5 point favorite, while our internal metrics are a little bit higher. But I do want to caution you guys that even though the talent on paper is significantly better than Wyoming's, Wyoming has already proven that they can hang around with Big 12 teams. I know it doesn't really reflect that in the scoreboard. Like, if you just take a look at the box score on ESPN or the Real app or whatever you get your scores from, it looks like on paper Utah dog-walked Wyoming in their own building. But if you really dive into the weeds, Wyoming was actually in this game for quite some time. And it wasn't until a late surge, late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, that Utah really started to pull away. This was a competitive game for the majority of the time in Wyoming. This Colorado defense, on the other hand, has shown more lapses than Utah so far this year. So I do think that Wyoming can legitimately find some offensive success. Granted, it might not be enough to pull the upset off. I think Colorado finds a way to win 28-17. But I do think Wyoming does at least cover. And dare I say it, maybe this is a game that could be an upset alert type matchup. Especially if Colorado, maybe looking ahead to what they have to deal with in the rest of the Big 12 slate. If an upset happened here, I wouldn't be completely shocked. But I don't expect it to happen, though. I do expect Colorado to win and get back to 500.